Hi guys, welcome to my coffee show. My name is Jack and today we start the topic of variable RPMs. If you notice, more and more grinders nowadays come with the option of changing RPMs. And it's something that's nice to have, well, we always want more, but we don't really know why. And even the producers are kind of unclear. We know that if you grind faster, it produces more fines than if you grind slower. That's about it. If you grind faster, the extraction will be slower. But what you could also do with the normal grinder without variable RPMs, you could just grind finer and you would achieve the same results. Is there any difference between grinding faster and grinding finer? Well, we will be slowly exploring that. As many of you already know, I recently acquired Flat Max 2 and that's my first grinder that allows me to play with the RPMs. Flat Max 2 is a slow grinder, so the RPMs range from 400 top to 22. That's how it sounds on the 400 RPMs. Now obviously if I lower it, it will be changing the volume, but even on the highest RPMs this grinder is very quiet. The good news is that even on those slow settings it didn't stall. We will do 3 pour-overs. I will dial the coffee in at 400 RPMs and then we use the same grind settings but I lower the RPM to 200 and then we do another one with the same grind settings but I lower the RPMs to 50. We will use Rok Brewer. If you don't know what the Rok Brewer is, it's like kind of a combination of V60 and Lily Drip. I have a video about that. We use those fast filters, very good filters. I will put the links in the description, so if you wanna buy those things from Amazon and support the channel. And we also need a coffee. We're going to use Trading Post coffee roasters, and this is a coffee from Colombia. Normally when I do a pour over, I like to do 5 pours, but today I want to simplify. So today is not strictly about doing the best pour over, but more about how different RPMs are affecting of the time of the pour over, coffee bed and taste. By the way, it's always a good time to click like, subscribe to the channel, and well, let's do it! I will show you the coffee beds. They don't look perfect, okay? Don't get shocked, but that's probably because of that recipe.
Oh my god!
Now the interesting thing here is, on the highest RPM it took 2 minutes and 40 seconds. We would expect that with less fines, with the lower RPMs, it should drain faster, and yes it did. It took 2 minutes and 20 on 200 RPMs. Now when I lower to 50, I would expect it to go even faster, but it took exactly the same, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Now the important thing, how the coffee tastes. There is some orangey flavors, there is some fruitiness, not too much citrusy flavors, but also some sort of grapefruity bitterness here. Some water. The other cup should be ready now. I thought there won't be any differences, and it could be psychosomatic, but I can taste less of that bitterness that I've mentioned in the first cup, and I can taste more of the nuances here. So still oranges, but more like a sweet oranges. I'm getting nice fragrance there in the background. Maybe raspberries, nice sweet fruity. Yes, this one I like more. And some water. And the last cup. It's always a tricky thing to taste 3 different pour-overs, because you get confused. This cup is slightly different than the last 2. The first cup, there was lots of sourness and there was that bitter aftertaste. Some depth, some nuances, but not as much as the second cup. The second cup, we got like a kind of a perfect balance of sourness, sweetness, no bitterness. Honestly, I could almost imagine myself eating those nice fresh oranges. The third cup, the sourness went down. I cannot taste bitterness, but it looks like we lost some of the nuances. Is that even possible? I mean, I probably would still say it's better than the first cup, but the second one I get more depth. Here, well, because I know where to look for, I can still taste those fragrant oranges, but kind of more quiet. Because I wanted to do this test as properly as I can in my humble kitchen, I decided to repeat it the next day. I've noticed that especially when you you grind on those low settings, the retention is an issue, and I haven't measured it at the first time. But the results, the draining time was pretty much exactly the same. Still don't know why. Then I did the taste test one more time, but I kind of got confused. I did it later on during the day after I already had few coffees, so I couldn't point to a clear difference. I asked my wife though, and she tasted all 3 cups, and her results, I didn't tell her beforehand, and her results were exactly the same as mine. The first cup was the strong taste but not pleasant. The second cup was the best overall flavor, and the third cup, it was better than the first. It was less harsh, but it was slightly blunt. So she also pointed to the middle cup, 200 RPMs. But from the beginning I was thinking, is it RPMs or is it the grind settings? What if we just change the grind settings? So we know that at 400 RPMs it runs slower than at 200 RPMs. So I decided to do one more test. I compared just 2 cups at 400 and at 200 RPMs, but I dialed them into within 5 seconds of each other. So the same drain time. I tasted them, and I wouldn't say the difference is as noticeable as when we did the first test. I would still point to that 200 RPMs cup, slightly more depth. So guys, if you are still here, definitely click like, subscribe to the channel. It's the first time my video took over 3 days. I wanted to be as precise, as scientific as I can be. So my results kind of inconclusive. I'm still not convinced that the RPMs make such a huge difference. Maybe with different coffee beans, you know, certain coffee beans tends to produce more fines than the others, so maybe then changing RPMs would make sense over changing grind settings. But overall, if your machine does not have variable RPMs, I don't think you are missing that much. I still may change my mind, and we still have not done the most important, the espresso test. It will come in the future. That's why I love the coffee. This is a great hobby because still plenty of things has not been discovered. In the comments, if you tried different RPMs, what is your experience? Maybe I missed something. Maybe you would like me to do something differently. Share it with us, please. That will help the community. Plenty more things coming, but for today, thank you very much for watching. My name is Jack. This is my coffee show, and hopefully I will see you soon. Thank you. Bye.